Clutch Sports Talk. Let's go. What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, and welcome to another edition of NFL Matchups. It's week 5 in the National Football League. We got lots to talk about as usual, but before we get to all of the matchups before this week, starting with Thursday Night Football between the 49ers and Rams, I got to talk about the duel that happened in Dallas this past Sunday night. I got a lot to unpack with that. Some of it might be surprising for you, or it might be rage bait. I don't know. I don't think it is, but we'll see. Then I got to talk about the Baltimore Ravens. Man, the wheels are coming off this one. And they're starting to come unhinged. Lamar Jackson pulled hamstring in that Chiefs game. We'll talk about that. What's going to happen to them? Is their championship window closed? Are they just done? I'll share my thoughts on that. And of course, I got to break down every matchup this week in week 5 for the National Football League. I'm going to give you guys my keys to victory along with some betting lines and odds for you guys, for those gamblers out there. So you want to stay tuned and check that out. So, but thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in wherever you are watching and listening from, man. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This is NFL Matchups with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go.
We're going to be here all day, baby. I like this kind of party. I like this kind of party, baby.
Welcome in, everyone. Hope you're having a great evening, and welcome to another edition of NFL Matchups. I'm your host, Ryan Flowers, and I'll be breaking it down for you guys for week 5 within this hour. Like I said at the top of the show, we're going to be talking about Dallas, we're going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens, and we're going to be deep diving in every matchup this week in the National Football League. But before we move forward, make sure if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel as well as the Grid Network YouTube channel right there. Just prompted down there below. Also check me out on Instagram, Facebook. I'm usually over there, and as well as TikTok as well too. So, but yeah, it's week 5, man. It's crazy. Like I say, every week, the weeks just go by so fast. And here we are, week 5, man. But before we get into those matches, let's set the scene or relive what took place this past Sunday night in Dallas, Texas, with the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. It was a thriller that ended in overtime. Yeah, you heard that right. If you just waking up under a rock, that game, 7 lead changes, and it ended up resulting in a tie, 40-40, where the Cowboys were heavily, I would say, they were I wouldn't say they were heavily favored, because they weren't. The Packers were expected to win that game. And not only was it a big game within the conference, Michael Parsons returned to Dallas since being traded away a week before the season starts. So we'll talk about that. But just to recap that game, I mean, listen, we got 7 lead changes. It's one of the highest scoring games in NFL history since the AFL merger. And it resulted in overtime. I mean, overtime and a tie. So go figure. Both quarterbacks were dueling. No turnovers for Dak Prescott. He posted a stat line of 31 for 40, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown, but no interceptions. Almost could have got a second touchdown if Micah Parsons didn't track him down from behind. Without CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens really picked up the slack. He 8 receptions, 134 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And the running game wasn't bad themselves. 20 carries on 85 yards and a touchdown for Javonte Williams. So I got to give credit to where credit's due. Brian Schottenheimer really had a great game plan or scheme for the Green Bay Packers. They were able to protect Dak Prescott. Micah Parsons did get a sack, I guess. It really wasn't a sack, but in terms of the rules of the law, it was a sack. But I don't know. I'll just leave it there for that. But overall, I mean, Packers themselves, Jordan Love really stepped up on crucial late game drives that put them up, and having to convert, I believe it was like 4th and 6 in overtime, and they converted that to get the field goal and by McManus to ended up tying the game. So it was a great game. As a Cowboys fan, I had no expectations. I really thought Micah Parsons was going to run roughshod, especially with the Dallas Cowboys offensive line being severely injured. And it's Micah Parsons, right? I mean, that's he's the guy, right? This is what everyone's been telling me the last couple of weeks, over the last 30 days, that he's that dude. And honestly, and I'm not being a hater, but I feel like he was really anonymous. Like, yes, if you look at the numbers, if you go to PFF, they'll say that he had like a 94% passing rush rate, which, okay, I get that. And rushing is a thing, right? You got to get pressure on the quarterback. But the amount of money that they're paying him, you need him to get sacks. He did get that game-saving probably touchdown that helped the Packers tie the game up. If not, Dak walks in for that touchdown. And then obviously the game isn't over because of the new rules. But now that we see that they ended up getting a field goal, maybe the game would have been different. Who knows? But overall, it was a very entertaining game. George Pickens, man, wow, he was crashing out one week and then he's catching over $130 and 2 touchdowns. Tremendous catches. Dak Prescott was very consistent. He looked very fluid in the pocket very early on in that game. You can tell that his game rose. He stepped up to the competition. He probably knew. He's reading the newspapers. He's hearing pundits like, guys on ESPN, NFL Network, wherever, CBS, and guys like myself saying, oh, the Cowboys have no shot, blah, 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 blah. But he did not let that deter him. He had a really, really good game. And if there was no doubt that Dak Prescott is a professional or starting quarterback in the National Football League, that's the game right there, because Green Bay Packers supposedly is supposed to have one of the best defenses in the game. Did not look that way because Dak just shredded him without CeeDee Lamb. So it's a good thing that Pickens stepped up. One thing I will say, the offense, though, I'm very surprised this season that the Cowboys could actually run the ball effectively. That's something that we haven't seen the Cowboys do, especially after last year, with Mike McCarthy, with no Tony Pollard. They couldn't run the ball. And when they brought Javonte Williams in, a lot of Cowboys fans were like, who? I mean, I know he was in Denver, but does this guy have any juice left? He's shown that he still has some juice left. He's still fairly young, too, if I'm not mistaken. Only about 4 years in the league. But Schottenheimer's definitely calling some good plays down there. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with him. So moving forward, I mean, Pickens right now will be the wide receiver 1 for this team until Lamb is healthy. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. And then the question mark about Dak's consistency. We know that he can turn the ball over. But so far this year, I believe only 1 or 2 interceptions this year. So he's playing really well. He's playing at a high level, maybe an MVP candidate, early MVP candidate at this point. But definitely he's stepping up in lieu of CeeDee Lamb being gone. And just really the defense is just terrible. So they're going to have to score 40 points a game to win, to beat teams or even be in contention. As far as the Packers are concerned, defense got to get better. That secondary got torched. The secondary got torched on Sunday night. They were able to get after it a little bit. They didn't result in sacks, but definitely some pressure. So that's something that's going to continue to be a staple for them in order for them to be in contention of these games. And Jacobs looked really good. Romeo Doubs, even though he has that stupid Guardian cap shield, whatever you want to call it, he looked pretty good. 2 touchdowns in Dallas on Sunday night. So can the Packers make a real push? I don't know, man. I was speaking to a Packer fan last night and he was like, listen, people are giving us all this praise, but we're really not that good. I don't know if they're not that good. I just don't know if they have enough dudes that have that clutch gene. Jordan Love really was good on Sunday night. I keep saying last night, but Sunday night. But at the end of the day, will he be clutch in the playoffs? Will Micah Parsons step up when you need him? You're paying him all this money. And this leads me to basically why I'm bringing this all up, because some people will say that the Packers won the trade. Some people will say the Cowboys won the trade, or I am in the middle. I think both teams got what they wanted. I think the Packers got another edge rusher that they'll probably end up needing. A guy that's a generational talent. I'm not saying he's generational, but definitely a generational talent in Micah Parsons. But he has to get his head right. Like I said before, pressures are good, but they're paying him for sacks. And can he affect the game? Obviously he didn't, because the Cowboys still put up 40 points. So we'll see how that's going to work out for them. As far as the Cowboys are concerned, they got Kenny Clark. I wouldn't say he's dramatically increased their defense, because he hasn't, or at least their run defense. But I do know they are better with him in the middle than they are without him. So it's going to be a marathon how this works out. Obviously, the Packers are in a better situation than the Cowboys because I think they can fix some things. The Dallas defense is just terrible. Unless they get some guys back healthy, like Demarion Overshone, Stephon Diggs. I'm not Stephon Diggs, Trayvon Diggs. If he can get healthy, and some other guys that they've had on the injury reserve, we'll see. I don't know. But they're putting a lot of faith in some young guys and see how those guys develop. I mean, they go ahead and sign Jadeveon Clowney. Like 2 weeks ago, he did play limited this past Sunday night. So we'll see if he can get going. I believe he had like 5.5 sacks last year. So old dog, but maybe he can still hunt a little bit, right? So we'll have to wait and see with that. But overall, I mean, I don't think anyone won this trade outright yet. I think it's still a wait and see type of situation. I've been on record saying I think the Cowboys should have traded Micah Parsons before the draft. That way you get some commodities now versus waiting a year and then another year because you got another first rounder the year after. So it doesn't help them in the immediate future. It does free up some cap space for them because now you don't have a guy that you're paying a boatload of money to. So maybe you can go out and go get a free agency. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see because, Jerry likes to shop at the bargain basement depot and getting some kind of player. So I don't know, but it was a very entertaining game. I still think the Lions are the better team right now, even though they lost to the Packers week 1. I think that was an outlying game for the Detroit Lions. I think they were a little rusty going into Lambeau, the buzz of Micah Parsons, and they just got throttled. And I think they figured it out. Still a long ways to go in the season, but it's going to be a wait and see type of game. All right. Talking about waiting and seeing. There wasn't much to see. By the Baltimore Ravens this past Sunday in Arrowhead in Kansas City. They got throttled 37-20, and that doesn't even justify the score. I think I tuned into that game. It was like 30-13 or something like that. And I was like, what the hell is happening? How are the Ravens just being demolished by a team who offensively this year and even last year has not been great? They did get Xavier Worthy back, so that does help them. Rashee Rice should be 2 weeks out now. From finished serving his suspension. I believe it was 6 weeks. Who knows, man? I mean, can you count out the Chiefs? Probably not. But Mahomes went off, man. 25 for 37. I mean, just the dude is a winner. And then you look at Lamar Jackson, struggled. I guess 14 for 20, but only $147, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and he rushed 6 times for 40 yards, and then he got hurt in late in the third quarter, pulled hamstring. It was 30-13 at the time, right, when he got hurt. But the Ravens are definitely in a precarious situation, in a situation that they probably didn't see themselves being in at this current time, right? They're 1-3. Your defense is a shambles. You just lost one of the better defensive linemen in the National Football League. Your secondary is garbage all of a sudden. And that's crazy because, you signed Jair Alexander in the offseason. You still got guys like Cal Hamilton, but they're just not doing it, and I get it. It's easy. They probably should have beat the Bills, right? That Sunday night game. If Henry doesn't fumble, then they probably maybe make a drive against, was it last week, Monday, against the Lions? So they're 1-3. Is there things that they can clean up? Yeah, but I really don't have any faith in this team. And I've been on it. I think once they paid Lamar Jackson, the clock was on, and right now he's hurt. Can this team crawl back? This is a very tough division. The Steelers right now, 3-1, if I'm not mistaken. They're looking pretty solid there. The Browns are going to be a tough out. Bengals, I'm not really worried about them unless Joe Burrow comes back here sooner than later. The Bengals are pretty much cooked. But I've noticed with them though, Lamar struggles a lot with these really good teams. And you saw it in that Buffalo game. You saw it against the Lions, and then you saw it again against Kansas City. He's 1-6, I believe, against Kansas City in his career, like 1-6. And you're trying to win a Super Bowl, you're going to have to go through Kansas City at some point, and you can't do that. So the Ravens, to me, man, on paper, they have one of the best teams in the National Football League, but they're just not living up to it. But it starts with Lamar. Yeah, again, you paying these guys all this money. He's a really good regular season quarterback, and then he comes into the postseason, he flops, or when he plays his really good team, sometimes he doesn't show up. And speaking of which, we just got a comment from Who's this? Derpy Entertainment says maybe Lamar isn't clutch winning quarterback, just regular season quarterback. Yeah, right. He says Steelers are 3-1, Bengals 2-2, Ravens 1-3, Browns 1-3. And as Steelers fans love to see the division, right? So yeah, he's living life right now. And I dare to say this, I think the Browns are in a better situation because at least they got a defense. They just got to figure out the quarterback situation because Joe Flacco is just a walking cadaver at this point. I give him credit. He won a Super Bowl. He's been playing well into his 40s, but it's kind of like, all right, we got to do something here. This ain't working. This is not working. It's time to move off this dude. But you know, you look at the flip side, the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, listen, I'm not Chris Collinsworth. I'm not going to be like, well, here's a guy. Like, I'm not going to do that. But you got to respect Patrick Mahomes, man, for what he's been able to accomplish with little to nothing, right? And he's going to start getting guys back. And the beauty of all this is because of Worthy being out, Rice being out on suspension, the kid Thornton, they've been able to develop him. I'm not saying he's like a top wide receiver, but he'll be able to fit in perfectly with what they need to get accomplished for their stretch, right? Because we're 25% through the season, and they're going to get healthier. So, and that defense has been the bell cow for the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's going to continue. Maybe they're not going to be as effective as they once were before, but they're still going to be one of those teams. And to me, they might win this division. It was them or the Chargers, but I don't know. But to wrap it up on Baltimore, at the end of the day, this team just, I don't know, man. If they don't right this ship, this might be the last season for John Harbaugh, excuse me. And Lamar Jackson is going to be known as a really talented guy, super athletic, 2-time MVP, but just couldn't get it done in those big situations. So, what does it say? Derpy says they got defense, and I'm nervous when we play them. They had a defense, but they're affected by injuries right now, for sure. Definitely, for sure. All right, man. Let's get into, while we're here, let's get into some matchups. Starting off Thursday Night Football, we got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the LA Rams in SoFi in Inglewood. Beautiful stadium, but no AC. No AC. Well, I digress. But Rams are favored. They are favored. I forgot what the line is on that one, but they're favored minus 225. But this is an NFC West rivalry that, like, it's deeply rooted because the San Francisco 49ers have been able to come, into LA a couple times and beat the Rams. Simple as that. They're I won't say they're a little nicked. They are nicked up. Brock Purdy's still nursing that toe. Mac Jones, I believe, is suffering some effects from the previous game. And obviously they're out Bosa. They're still missing Brandon. They're missing a lot of good pieces. Ricky Pearsall, I don't know if he's going to be a go. But these games are really tough, and it's hard to look at these games and bet them straight up because sometimes you just don't know. I mean, right now the Rams should be the locked in favorite, which they are according to Vegas. But the Niners, have a really good record against them too in LA. So it's like, what do you do, right? At the end of the day, keys to victory for both teams. Rams, just win the turnover battle, right? Control the tempo, force the 49ers to constantly try to convert third down conversions, right? Especially with Brock Purdy not being 100%, the Rams do have the pass rush that can get there. That kid Verse is phenomenal. He is phenomenal. He's an up-and-coming edge rusher. If you don't know him, throw on the tape. I believe his name is Jared Verse, number 9, I believe he is. Throw on the tape. He's a tremendous pass rusher. Not Aaron Donald, a different position, but definitely a guy that can get after it. As far as the 49ers are concerned, you got to have to stay balanced. You got to run the football, complete the quick time throws that help the Kyle Shanahan offense, and stay on schedule. Stay on schedule because you start getting into 3rd and 8, 3rd and long. It's gonna be murky. So their best bet is to try to get 4 or 5 yards first down, keep it manageable. Don't have Brock Purdy back there sitting like a sitting duck, waiting for that Rams defensive line to get after him. But with that said, I think at the end of the day, I do like the Rams in this one on the money line. I wouldn't go with the spread on this one. I would just take the Rams straight up on the money line. The total on this one is 47.5. I think this could get up a little bit, so I would probably stay away from that, but definitely would take the Rams on the money line. Okay. All right, we got Vikings and Browns in London. Vikings lost a very interesting game in Dublin last week, Sunday, to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have to fly over to the UK or to London, to England, to take on the Browns. The line opened up at -3.5. Vikings are the favorite. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. The Browns defense is phenomenal. Vikings defense is pretty solid. Maybe they'll get used to the time difference. I don't know. Maybe that's why they started slow. Who knows? But as far as the keys to victory, Vikings got to protect the ball. Wentz, you can't turn the ball over. You can't settle for field goals. Protect the ball. Control the field position, right? Make sure, if you're punting, keep them pinned within the 30, 40-yard line. Don't flip field position. And again, avoid all turnovers. Browns, get some negative plays on the defensive side. Force negative plays. Get some interceptions. Get some tackle for losses. Make Wentz feel super uncomfortable, because he can be a turnover machine as well. But if they can do that, they got a chance. I think they said Dylan Gabriel might be the starter going into this week, so we'll have to wait and see. But he might give the offense some juice. The Browns got talent. It's like they're not devoid of talent. It's just, at least on the offensive side of things, they just got to get it going. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I do like the Vikings. I would take them -3.5 on this one. And maybe the under. The under is 36.5. That's pretty low. That's pretty low, but you know what? It might be. So, but I would definitely take the Vikings -3.5. We got Raiders at the Colts. The Colts suffering their first loss of the season in LA. Now they got to go back home to Indianapolis. They are -6.5 favorites against the Raiders at home. Things to consider: the Raiders have a turnover issue, and it's Geno Smith. That's a problem. The Colts will have a home field advantage because that place does get pretty loud at Lucas Oil Field. As far as keys to victories are concerned, don't allow the Raiders to hang in that game. If they are able to get on them, maybe force a couple turnovers, and have a pretty comfortable lead going into the fourth quarter, they'll probably walk away with this one pretty easy and a significant win. But if you keep it close, the Raiders hang around, then you might find yourself in a dogfight, and that you don't want. So Raiders force turnovers. They're going to have to get chunk plays somehow. They're going to have to get big plays, and that's going to require Geno Smith pushing the ball down the field. Good luck. He had 3 interceptions last week. He's talking about they wrote him off. He ain't wrote back. Well, I don't even know what that means. I guess at the time it sounded cool, but we writing, and it says that you suck right now. So they're going to have to figure that out. But in the end, I do like the Colts to cover with a touchdown. So I'm taking the Colts -6.5. We got Dolphins and Panthers. Miami is this one's a close one, man. It might be a pick 'em. I don't know, but we'll see. It's -1.5 right now. The Dolphins are on the road. Obviously, we saw what happened to Tyreek Hill with dislocated knee, torn ACL, tore MCL. Every ligament in his knee is pretty much gone. So with that said, Dolphins are still favorite. Darren Waller, shout out to him. 2 touchdowns in his return action. He's been off like almost a year, right? After retiring and then unretiring. He did a little wrap. Now he's back. 2 touchdowns last night against the Jets. Keys to victory though for the Dolphins. Listen, it's pretty simple, man. Rely more on short intermediate passes. Run the football. Get Darren Waller active early in that game. It's not that long ago. Darren Waller was considered a top 3, top 4 tight end. It was him, George Kittle, and Travis Kelce. And then obviously he fell off. He fell off for whatever reason. But he was that dude with the Raiders. He was. I'm not saying he'll be that dude again, but 6'6" frame, 245 pounds. He's athletic. Like, that's got to be a guy that you got to use. So on defensive side of things, continue to disguise things. Make it hard for Bryce Young. He's a short quarterback, right? He can't really see over the line. So maybe pre-snap, you have a one look, and then after the snap, you change the look up. It's hard for him to identify that because he's a shorter quarterback. So that's one thing. Keys to victory for the Panthers. They're going to have to run the football. You're going to have to use Chuba Hubbard, and that sounds like bubblegum, but you're going to have to use him, right? I'm not that confident in their passing game. I don't know if Xavier Legette is going to play. But they got boat raced in New England this past Sunday. So there might be some extra motivation there for them. But they're going to have to also win the turnover battle too, and try to create some more opportunities for their offense to maybe put some points on the board. But in the end, I'm going to roll with the Dolphins. I think they're going to rally. I think they have a little bit more weapons. So I'm going to take them -1.5 to cover on the road in Charlotte. All right, Giants and Saints. This is a very intriguing one. Jackson Dart got the start. A lot of people were up in arms about Jackson Dart getting the start last week, and I don't get it. If it was me, I would have started him from the beginning of the year. I'm not this guy anymore that thinks like guys got to sit, and it, it just depends on the situation, right? Brian Daboll he's pretty much a lamed up coach. It doesn't make any sense for him to kick around the can and put Jameis Winston in, Russell Wilson. You drafted this kid for a reason. Throw his ass in there and see what he's got. Because then if you don't win, you're fired anyway. So it's basically you're going down on your own terms. It don't make no sense to sit him there, and you're going to get fired in the next 3-4 months, 3-4 months anyway. So it was perfectly clear to me that he needed to start because the Giants, they need some juice. They needed it. They needed that swagger from a young quarterback like Jackson Dart and getting Cam Scatterbo in there. It brought life to that team. Now, the Saints are favored at home -1.5. The Giants, obviously, we know, lost Malik Neighbors to that horrific injury that he had when he was going up over a ball. But Jackson Dart provides mobility, that swagger that you need in the locker room, and I think they're going to get behind him. The Saints are winless. Now, they had a very valiant effort in Orchard Park this past Sunday, but over time, it was a war of attrition. The Bills were the better team, and Josh Allen just took over. He just took over, and that's what happened. So, keys to victory: Giants continue to lean on the running game with Cam Scatterbo. I like Cam Scatterbo. I liked him at Arizona State. I remember watching him when I believe he was at Sacramento State before he went to Arizona State. I like him, man. I like what he brings. I like that. Like this little duo, man. Jackson Dart got swag he's got a lot of aura. I like him, and I know it sounds like I'm glazing him, but I like him. I thought he was the best quarterback in the draft. And then as far as the Saints, create mismatches when you can. Obviously, they have the better wide receiving core, I would say. Maybe more veteran laden, but their defense is going to have to force turnovers, and they're going to have to get in Jackson Dart's head quickly. I am going to go on a limb and take the Giants to cover. I would say +1.5 on this particular one, with the Giants and Saints go +1.5 on this one. This is going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be an interesting game. And I like Jackson Dart to go 2-0 in his first 2 games in the National Football League. Shout out to him. All right, real comments real quick before we keep moving on because we're doing good here. Derpy says, man, that's the problem with modern NFL and modern fans. They want players paid before proven otherwise in the playoffs. Probably talking about Lamar Jackson, rightfully so. He says he's got the Rams winning. He's got the Vikings winning. My boy Ben, sorry, man. Your Buccaneers didn't get it done for you, and I picked them. In my heart. I knew the Eagles were probably going to win, but I was going out on a limb for you. He says there were 21 million reasons why the Giants didn't start Dart from the get-go. 21 million. He says, speaking of the Saints, how much longer are they going to go at Spencer Rattler? He is terrible, but I don't think the other guy that they drafted is any better. So it is Tyler Schlow. Is that his name? He's going to get in at some point because Spencer Rattler's 0-10 as a starter, right? So he hasn't won a football game yet. Jackson Dart, first game, wins, and Spencer Rattler's played 10 NFL games, 0-10. Talk about that. My boy Bryson Carver from the Carving Up podcast, he says, Rain Dakota Prescott looked all right, Mr. Flowers. Eyeballs. Yeah, he did, man. Hey, that's my quarterback. I don't care. I love Dak Prescott. I love him. I think he's a great quarterback. He's got to get a Super Bowl. Probably never happened, but, well, if he does, good for him. All right, speaking of those Dallas Cowboys, they are heading to MetLife. Hopefully, no one blows out an ACL. They're playing the Jets in MetLife. Cowboys are favored at 2.5 against the Jets. Jets, they're getting a lot of moral victories online. Like I'm listening to guys say, "Oh, the Jets look better. The Justin Fields looks good." They're 0-4. Like what? Like I don't understand people. Like when they come on or they get in front of a camera, like what the hell are you talking about? You're 0-4. Justin Fields looks pretty much what he always looks like. Super athletic, could run, but can't pass. You got Garrett Wilson, and I hate his sleeves. For you wide receivers that are there, don't look like Garrett Wilson. I don't like his swag, but that's beside the point. He is arguably a top 5 wide receiver. And I feel bad for him because he has not had the quarterback play that he needs to help elevate himself. That's one thing about being a wide receiver is that you are so dependent on the quarterback. And I have a close friend. Well, they're like relatives to me, and one of his boys is having a problem with that as we speak. Right? Super talented, but the quarterback is shite. So there you have it. That's Garrett Wilson for you in a nutshell. So anyway, keys to victory. Listen, for the Cowboys, try to keep it under 25 points defense. Can you guys do that? Can you not give up 45-yard bombs to a running back who was just working at FedEx 1 week ago? Can we do that? Can you force a turnover? The turnovers were a big thing for them this past weekend. The blocked field goal on the extra point, the strip fumble that resulted in a touchdown right before half. That was a big. That's the Dallas defense that we've been accustomed to. Takeaways. And because the offense is going to do what the offense do, and they're going to be able to do that. Dak Prescott is in full command of that offense. If George Pickens can come out and continue to be that number one guy in lieu of CeeDee Lamb, that should be good. As far as the Jets are concerned, they're going to have to push the pace. They can do that. Justin Fields, he's going to run that football. He's going to have to protect himself. The good thing for Justin Fields is that the Cowboys can't get after him. They have no pass rush. Literally none. Now, that may change. Maybe they're starting to develop. Like I said before at the top of the show, they may have some guys that they're developing, but right now they don't really have a pass rush. Guys are back there in the quarterback position playing against the Cowboys. They're helping out their kids and doing their homework. They're playing Parcheesi. They're looking in the ads. They're doing God knows what they're doing back in the backfield, and they're making plays down the field. So, but in the end, the Cowboys have better offense. I am going to take the Cowboys at -2.5 on this one. This could be an over, though. This could be an over if you're looking at it. It's 43.5 according to Vegas Insider, 43.5. I can definitely see this being an over just because it's the Cowboys defense. The Cowboys defense alone can give up 43.5 points by themselves. So if you're looking at any Cowboys game until they prove you otherwise, take the over. Take it. It'll be one of the smartest bets that you'll make every week. So, and we'll come back and talk about this next week. All right. Let's see who we got here. We got the Broncos at the Eagles. Broncos good win last night, Monday Night Football. Eagles are 3.5 favorites at home at Lincoln Financial. Pretty simple here. Eagles offense got off really quick, early. Good. Now, they kind of let off the gas a little bit last week against Tampa Bay, but their defense kind of kept them in it, sustained it. They weathered the storm. They come out with the victory. Broncos, they have to continue to be balanced. I'm not a big fan of Bo Nix. I don't think he's this guy that is going to come over and be like just what people want him to be. And that's another thing. People just want these guys to be something that they're not, and he just isn't. But they're going to have to be balanced, run the football, play good defense, which they have a pretty solid defense. We'll see. Eagles, at least at the end of the day, don't keep the Broncos hanging around late, right? I said this a bunch of times with other games, but you don't want this because Bo Nix could break a big play, right? Cortland Sutton can go for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's that kind of guy. And if they can get out on the Broncos early, they'll put them to bed pretty swiftly and get this win. Broncos, you got to get after the quarterback. You're going to find some way to get Jalen Hurts uncomfortable, get him to the ground, because right now Saquon Barkley is a non-factor for this team, which is what is the opposite of last season, right? So if you can get to Jalen Hurts, force him to make an errant throw, just keep him in the pocket, because when he gets around and out, that's when he becomes dangerous. So if they can get after him early, make some big plays early, especially with Cortland Sutton, you have a chance on the road. But I just like the Eagles to cover this one. I like the Eagles at -3.5 here. I do like the over though, 43.5. I do like the over here as well too. So that's one thing to consider, but I do like the Eagles overall. All right, Texans and Ravens. Texans are favored, -1.5 on the road in Baltimore. Obviously, Lamar Jackson's probably not going to play. It's going to be Cooper Rush time. He's going to dink and dunk. Obviously, I'm very familiar with Cooper Rush being a Cowboys fan. But the Ravens are going to have to rely heavily on their run game. They're going to have to get Derrick Henry going and really ride him into the ground, be that workhorse until they can figure things out and just kind of play keep away. Texans, they're going to have to use a little variance of running and passing. Their offensive line has not been great. CJ Stroud has not been really good at all this year. But this is going to be a close game. Could you see the Texans winning this game? Absolutely. But in the end, I would probably go plus 1.5 with the Ravens at home. Even though they don't have Lamar Jackson, I still think they're better than the Texans. I really do. I think they're still better than the Texans. I think Derrick Henry will have a monster game, and they'll squeak it out. So I would take the Ravens at plus 1.5. All right, we got some comments here real quick before I move on. Teams are more. What's up, man? He said the Dallas game was good. Yeah, it was good. It was really good. Ben says once the Bucks got that punt block for a TD, it was going to be a long day. At least the Bucks gave it a fight till the end. They did. And if once Mike Evans gets healthy, that offense is going to be scary, man. You got Mike Evans, Godwin came back, the kid out of Ohio State, Ubeka, Bucky Irving, White, Baker Mayfield, and Cade Otton's not a bad tight end either. Like we forgot about him too. So Teams and More says it's win or lose, especially in the NFL. Oh, yeah, there's no moral victories in the NFL. They're not looking at your stat line and saying, well, they're 0-4, but they played hard, man. They did good, man. They did great, man. You did all right. As Adrian Bronner would say, man, cut that soft shit out of here. Cut that soft shit. Cut that soft shit out of here. That's what he would say. But anyway, I digress. Ben says the worst for the Jets is Sauce Gardner. Definitely an overpaid corner who never gets intercepted. Yeah. Super athletic, but doesn't get interceptions. And they throw at him. That's the other thing. It's one thing if they're not throwing at you, but sometimes they're targeting him. Teams and More says they gave up 40 against the Packers. Yeah, right. The Cowboys did. Like I said, they did it on their own. So you definitely take the over when the Cowboys. If the Cowboys defense is involved, take the over. I don't care if the over is 100.5 points. The Cowboys defense will find a way. He says off topic, but NFL players need to stop wearing the helmet shells. He's talking about the Guardian shells during the game. It looks terrible, and players look like they're Yeah, they. You know what? I get it. I get why they're doing it, but it looks stupid. Like, how much more protection are you getting? Like, is there any real credible, viable data that proves that the Guardian shield or helmet padding is any significant or has any real consequence? I don't know. It's still an early new technology, but Romeo Dobbs, I had to adjust my eyes a couple of times. I'm like, what? His head looks super swole, but it's the stupid Guardian. So it's starting to make its way into the high school ranks too. I could have sworn I've seen a couple kids out here in Vegas starting to wear it. So listen, at the end of the day, football is a very violent sport. There's going to be collateral damage, and I get it. You're trying to reduce it, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. These guys are gladiators. They know what they're getting themselves into, but that's just my take on that. All right. Yeah, keep rolling in the comments, y'all, man. Appreciate you guys. All right, let's go. Keep rolling along. We got the Titans at the Cardinals. Cardinals open up at -7.5 favorites. The over is 42.5. Titans are really struggling. Cam Ward, first overall pick, does not look good. Honestly, don't look any better than Will Levis, to be fair. But rough start for him. I got to give him his props though, man. He went in that presser yesterday or Sunday, excuse me, and I was like, hey man, I'm gonna keep it a buck. We ass right now. Like, hey, that I can't find any other better superlative that you can say than we ass right now. So shout out to him for that. Cardinals, listen, tough one. It was a close one against Seattle on Thursday Night Football. Hopefully they look to bounce back. They should be able to against a Titans defense that's not good at this point right now. So, but keys to victory, you cannot, and the Cardinals are going to be at home. You cannot keep the Titans close. Again, another game where you keep a team like this close, it gives them confidence. So they're going to have to give them that death blow from the start. Exploit your mismatches. Ladarius Sneed, since coming over to Tennessee from Kansas City, garbage. When they asked him about who did they have? Nico Collins was, he was like, who? Nico Collins just rolled him up, smoked them. All right. So they don't look good. Marvin Harrison Jr., figure it out, bro. I get it. It's tough. You're struggling, but figure it out. You have all the DNA in you to be great. Just go out there and do it. Cardinals, Tennessee, listen, just keep it close, man. Run the football with Tony Pollard. Minimize turnovers. Keep your quarterback upright. And for Christ's sakes, catch the football. Like, oh, here's the football. Let me catch it. That's easy. I mean, really, can you do that for your quarterback? Help your young QB out, man. Catch the damn football. But in the end, I do like the Cardinals to win this game. I like them in the money line. I think this game will be close, but I would take the Cardinals in the money line and not the spread at 7.5. That's a little too rich for me, but I would take them in the money line. All right, moving right along, we got Seahawks and Buccaneers. This is a very tantalizing one, a very tantalizing game. Did I read this? The Buccaneers at home or the Seattle's at home? I got to double check that one. Let me see. It is. I could have sworn the Buccaneers. Oh, let's see. What does it say here? No, this game is in Seattle. So the line opened up -3.5. Seattle at home, rightfully so. Over and under is 44.5. Seattle has what they got going for them. They're very versatile in the back end. Their defensive backs are really good. And it's a good matchup because you got Ubeka, you got Godwin. If Evans comes back, he should be pretty good to go. We'll see how he is. He's got that hamstring. The Bucks again have the injury concerns, but overall, the keys to victory for the Seahawks: disrupt the passing game. Find any way you can to get in Baker Mayfield's face and make his life a living hell. Okay, force some turnovers. You saw what happened to him against the Eagles. It was like 1st and 10, like on the 30 or something. Ben, you can quote me if you're still watching. He threw the interception in the end zone. And I'm like, dude, you got to live to fight another day, bro. And he didn't. And so, but he had pressure in his face. So we'll have to, that's going to be a key there. As far as the Bucks are concerned, you're going to have to be very calculated when you take your shots downfield because they have some ball hawks on that secondary that I just talked about. And you're going to have to shut down that crowd immediately. That's probably one of the top 5 things that you have to do as an opposing team when you're going into Lumen Stadium or Seattle. Is you're going to have to find a way to neutralize that crowd because if they got it going up there, that 12th man is louder than anyone in the National Football League. So, but at the end of the day, I like the Seahawks to win this game -3.5. I'll take the spread on that only because the time difference, right? So, well, not the time difference, but the travel. Teams that are traveling from that Eastern time zone, it's hard for them to go. And you're going to the furthest place in the NFL, the Pacific Northwest. Strange things happen out there. It should be a good game, but I do like Seattle at -3.5. We're rolling along. We got Lions at the Bengals. Lions, really good win this past week. Listen, against the Browns, very, very, very solid win. Offensive line starting to get their act together for the Lions. Bengals depth is becoming an issue. Obviously, your quarterback is going to be a problem. You got Jamar Chase rolling up on the head coach during the game. They got some stuff going on there. This team is 2-2, but it feels like they're 0-4 for some reason. Since Joe Burrow's gone down, they did not get anything going against the Broncos. As far as this week, keys to victory: the Lions just dominate early. Avoid giving the Bengals any type of life through turnovers, extra possessions, settling for field goals instead of touchdowns. They should be good. Bengals don't make mistakes. If you do, mitigate them as much as you can, and try leaning on your running game a little bit more to try to get, because Jamar Chase is going to be double teamed, but you got T Higgins, so they're gonna have to figure out ways to creatively get these guys the football. But I like the Lions in this one. Maybe not to cover though at +10.5. Well, I don't know. I can definitely see the Lions doing it because they don't play around. You know what? I would probably you could take them at +10.5. All right, we got Chargers versus Commanders. We'll speed it up here. Chargers -2.5 against the Commanders. Really quick keys to victory. Win the passing game. Get after the quarterback. Jaden Daniels is expected to return, but he's still nursing that injury. So find a way to affect him. Commanders, protect your quarterback at all costs and keep balance. Run the football. We'll see if Scary Terry can get back in the lineup. That'll help boost the Commanders. But I do like the Chargers. I take that back. I like the Commanders +2.5 on this one. If I'm betting this one, I'll take the Commanders at home +2.5. I think they're at home, right? All right. We got Sunday Night Football here. Bills and Patriots -7.5. Bills are the favorites. Bills are 4-0 right now. They're rolling right now. A little scared this past weekend against the Saints at home, but they find a way to pull through. Listen, keys to victory for the Bills: don't let these guys sniff the game at all. It's a divisional game, but they've owned the Patriots the last couple games. So just do that. Don't let them sniff it. Get on them early. In this game in the second quarter, it'll be done. As far as the Patriots, you're going to have to take calculated shots down the field. The Bills defense have been susceptible to big plays down the field for some turnovers. And maybe you got a chance, but really you don't. I like the Bills to cover this one at -7.5. And then finally, our Monday Night Football game. We got the Kansas City Chiefs at Jacksonville. taking on Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Chiefs are -3.5 road favorites. Chiefs are going to have to just continue to be consistent, stay consistent. You got some guys coming back from injury, from suspension. Utilize them. Keep utilizing them. That defense will be solid. Keys to victory, just lean on your playmakers if you're the Chiefs. You got Xavier Worthy. You got Thornton. Get the run game going on defense. You got Chris Jones up the middle. You got some really good defensive players, so keep doing it and finish strong. Avoid mistakes, which they tend to do anyway, so they should be good there. And as far as the Jaguars are concerned, pressure the quarterback. Find a way to mix up your tempo, mix up your disguises, blitzes, force negative plays as much as possible to keep yourselves within this game. This is a good test for the Jaguars. They went on the road last week to Santa Clara to take on the 49ers and win that one. This is another big game for them, so they're going to have to stay on task with that. So, but I do like the Chiefs at -3.5 there. So, all right. So that's it. That's week 5, man. Lock it in, man. Make sure you get to that window. Lock your picks in if you do it online like I do via your phone. Check that out too. So go over and review that or rewatch the episode again if you want to hear some about what I was talking about. But other than that, man, that's it, man. It's been a fabulous evening. Hope you guys have the wonderful rest of your evening. Thanks for everyone that contributed, for watching and even commenting. Team Zamora, Ben, Bryson, who else was out here? Derpy Entertainment, whoever that is. I've seen you a couple times. I'm kind of wondering who you are, but appreciate you for stopping by, man. I appreciate all the support. It takes a lot of effort to do these shows every week, and I enjoy doing them, and so that's why I'm here every week. So other than that, that is all I got. You guys be cool. I will see you guys next week, Tuesday, same time, same channel on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Grid Network YouTube channel as well as my YouTube channel at Clutch Sports Talk Podcast. So that's all I got, man. I hope you guys had a wonderful rest of your evening. I will see you guys next week, Tuesday. Until next time, this is your boy Ryan Flowers, a.k.a. Clutch Sports Talk. Like I always say, never settle till the work is done. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.